Welcome to Creative Writing Energy, conversations about the writer's life, alternative practices and craft with Kim Peterson and Catherine Evans. Hello, Kath. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Kim. How are you?
I'm pretty well. I'm pretty well, thanks. Yeah.
Excellent.
So I hear you've just come back from some acupuncture.
Yes, yesterday had acupuncture and then some cupping. I've never had that before, so that was a bit exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my brain's a bit today because after acupuncture,
Yep.
the energy picks up and the brain slows down.
Cupping brain.
Cupping brain, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've got cupping back. Won't be going to the beach for a while. I've got these big red bruises.
I've never tried that before. I'll have to give it a go. Sounds nice.
Acupuncture is really nice. I like it.
It's nice anyone touching your back.
Yeah. The cupping was, a very strange feeling. It was because they like vacuum suck those like glass dishes onto your back. And so you can feel them sucking on and then your skin tingles, but underneath everything relaxes.
Okay.
It's quite an odd thing. The only thing I could compare it to was a leech bite. You know how leeches suck on and your skin kind of tingles?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was nicer than a leech.
I hope so.
Not doing a good advertising job, am I?
Come get leeched. Yeah, so today we're going to dive into some communication. Yay. The difference between men and women. We might help to reconcile your men and women counterparts that you've got going on in your brain.
Oh, me, yeah. And my man and woman can talk.
Yeah, get them talking. I wonder if that'll ever happen. And this came up because you read a book and you were telling me about this, and we thought, why not talk about it on the podcast? So here we are. But first, we should mention our creative prompt this week, which I will tell you. It is: the thirst for truth in our books is greater than ever. What truths will you bring to your manuscript today? What do you think about that, Kath? Any thoughts?
I think it's tough, isn't it? It's a tough one. You have to dig deep to find your truths, to almost acknowledge them and put them in your manuscript. But sometimes they sneak in before you acknowledge them, and it's only after, when the book's out and somebody makes a comment and the truth hits you in the face, or it did for me. Yeah. I was like, oops, I didn't know I put that in there.
Well, I think, it's kind of like readers are really kind of wanting to connect to something real when they're reading. It was something they can relate to, something that, sort of putting those bits in that people highlight on their Kindles, that kind of thing, or write down because it resonates. And it's kind of not watering it down, not bending to the truth, and not editing your soul when you're writing, I guess. Giving,
being there, warts and all.
Yeah, giving something authentic, bringing an authentic quality to the page. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that your story needs to be one big soul purge saga or anything, but just here and there, it's important. And I think in today's world, it's more important than ever to provide those kind of snippets of truth. It's kind of hard to live from the truth, isn't it, for a lot of people?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's challenging.
Because I think and the world's kind of shallow, isn't it? Like, we don't make deep connections.
People are shallow. I mean, I didn't say that. You can beep that out. People can be shallow.
Often it is. society is kind of shallow. People are shallow. They're not looking for a deep connection.
And you know what? I've realized really recently, and this might sound really kind of strange, but just listening to other people talking about certain subjects or topics and their perspectives. And, you know, I'm not daft. I know everyone has their own perspective on things and the way they view the world and their lives and make meaning from that. But it really surprises me when people kind of might sort of I don't even know how to explain it, but just kind of not think on a broader or bigger or deeper perspective.
That they've got
really
their narrow view.
Hey? That
they've got their narrow view and they're not prepared to listen or change or...
Yeah, or that they might have some kind of epiphany, quote unquote, and it's something simple that, you know, thinking about something in a deeper sense or even thinking, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I don't know, but that's me. So people are different.
That's it. Make
Just
the
like
world
men
go
and women.
round. That's it.
But how about we pull our cards? Do you want to go first?
Okay. Trust your vibes again.
Mm-hmm.
And today's card.
Oh, nice.
Oh, accept the gifts of the universe.
Cool. I like it.
That's really nice.
But, you know, considering our topic, it's kind of interesting. Do you want to read out your little thing about it?
I haven't found my little thing about it. You pull your card while I'll
pull my card. Okay, today I am on the soul's journey. The never-ending soul journey, baby. And I've shuffled and we're going for success.
Oh,
Cool.
The universe is bringing us success. Yes.
I know that there is no greater goal than to love. Oh, how nice is that? And how I'm apt with what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's so funny. Yeah. So what do you got first?
The guidebook says, "Are you limiting yourself and what the universe is trying to bring to you? Many of us limit what we receive because we feel unworthy or we think that to receive so much would be selfish. Neither is true in the eyes of the universe, which will bring you as much as you allow."
True.
Wow, that's beautiful. Hey, beautiful. What a neat day.
Yeah. We've got some good stuff going. So bringing it to today's episode. So let's dive in then.
Dive in.
Yeah. You want to start? Because this was your topic.
Okay, well, I started reading Word Slut by Amanda Montell.
Word what?
Word slut.
No, you can't say that word.
Send the nephew a message and tell him not to listen today.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to our podcasts, you know, as we do the audio thing, and I was thinking, my God, how many times do we talk over each other and we finish each other's sentences? You know, and most other podcasts I listen to, which aren't very many, I have to admit, sorry, but I'm not a podcast listener, but mostly they're men. I'll delete that bit.
Yeah, delete it.
Mostly they're men, and they have quite, they don't talk like we talk. They have quite distinct patterns to their conversations. Anyway, in Word Slut, I'm reading this, and I was like having an epiphany. I hope you don't think this one's
you're having one of those epiphanies.
Anyway, it says, analyze a few hundred transcripts of dude-on-dude chatter, and you'll find a dominant speaker who holds the floor and a subordinate waiting for his turn. It's a vertical structure when men speak. But with women, the conversation is frequently much more horizontal and malleable. Everyone is an equal player. While men tend to view conversation as an arena for establishing hierarchies and expressing individual achievement, women's goals are typically to support the other speakers and emphasize solidarity. Thus, women progressively build on what one another says. And I was reading that and I was like, oh, Kim and I talk proper for women.
Oh, yeah, we do talk proper for women, don't we? We build, baby.
We build right on top of each other.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's so true. You can really distinguish between, you know, two women chatting and two men chatting. Or do they chat?
Oh yeah.
Do men chat?
Yeah, I used to work with men. Men chat. Men are gossips. Oh yeah.
Oh, we're talking gossip. I know.
They chat too.
You know, it's some of the most gossipy people I've ever met in my life have been men. Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Some men are bitches. Definitely tell your nephew not to watch.
Skip this week's episode, dear.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but taking that over into men and women actually conversing and communicating, you were kind of talking a little bit more about that as well.
Oh yeah, in the book there was another part that said that women actively listen and participate in conversations with each other. So if there's two women like Kim and I, you and I sitting here talking, we actively and are and and yes and, you know, as the other person speaks. But when, because of the male hierarchy thing, when men speak or when women speak to men, it's like talking to a brick wall. You know, they sit there silently while you talk and talk, and you might be expecting feedback, but you get nothing because they're just sitting there waiting their turn or thinking about something else.
You know, yeah, I mean, men, I think I've kind of heard this a long time ago, and because we were going to talk about this today, I revisited a few articles and things about this, and men seem to have that tendency to want to fix things, whereas, you know, like women just want to talk sometimes, like if they've had a bad day, they just want to talk, and that's how we sort it out, you know. And you don't not necessarily asking for your man to you know,
give you a solution.
No. To give you a solution, you just want to sort of blow it off, and actually while we're talking, we're working it out in our own heads, right? And you keep grinning a bit.
Oh, because this is me and my husband's thing, is that I'll start saying something to him and he starts giving me answers, and I'm like, sympathy, not solutions.
I know, right?
And then he'll give me sympathy like, oh, sorry. Not sympathy at all.
With a whole lot of heart behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's so interesting, men and women communicating and how they do it, or lack thereof, and then there's that famous saying, you know, women from Venus, or I'm saying it the wrong way. Yeah. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, but Venus, you know, it's kind of true, and it's interesting because it's like maybe it's part of our life and evolving and how to actually overcome these communication barriers between the opposite sex. You know, I said to my mother, I think it was only just like, I was gonna laugh. My mum's like, I'm always coming up in your podcast and you're writing, and I'm like, yeah, you are. She is. But I did say to my mum a couple of weeks ago, you know, geez, I wish I was gay. Like, I wish that I was. And she just looked at me and she's like, you know, I think you'd make a really good lesbian, Kim. And I'm like, whatever those qualities are. And only, you know, for the simple fact, it's like, because women get each other.
But do you have any gay male friends?
I used to.
But
I haven't really kept in touch with a lot of them.
But do you feel that sometimes they understand a woman's perspective as well?
Yes.
So I don't think I think it's
not always a gender thing.
No, I don't think it's a gender thing. I think it's a personal thing, like how you want to mix in society or relate to people.
Yeah. It's a choice. Yeah. It's a choice,
yeah, I think so.
Because I mean, I've met men, and I have one male friend in particular who completely seems to just like surprise me and blow me away in that he's so able to view the world and view other people with so much empathy and emotional maturity. You know, his reactions are not poor by any means. Like he's thoughtful and compassionate and mindful, and it's a way of being, and it's a way of wanting to be. I guess it's you know, I was listening to this guy. I'm going to put the link to this YouTube video in the notes because it's going to drive you just as crazy as it did with me. And Coach Corey Wayne, and it's the difference how men and women communicate. And I swear to God, he's talking how it sounded so primitive, you know, the way he kind of painted men and kind of thinking, all right, when am I going to get you in bed, you know, or he's thinking about her boobs, or, you know, how hot she's looking in the dress, and she wants to talk about her day. And he's talking about the communication breakdown, but at the end of the day, he's saying you've got to spell it out to him. You've got to tell him what you need. And I know, you know, like, are we talking about 5-year-olds here? You know what I mean? Like, when do we get to or reach a point where we don't always need to spell it out to the opposite sex in a way, you know, like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, if you're in your 20s or whatever, but, you know, you kind of reach a kind of level in your life where you should be on par and should be able to have that mature communication. Okay, not everything's always going to be perfect, but at least strive to get there and connect. It's about connecting, isn't it?
Yeah. And I worked with a lot of men when I worked in agriculture. You know, often I was the only woman, you know, on a job or something. And I used to have beers on Friday night with the guys because, you know, that was what you did. But none of the other girls ever, well, very few of the other girls ever went. So I was often, you know, sitting in a bunch of guys, and often they forgot that I was there, you know, and they didn't censor themselves like they do when there's a woman around. And I think I saw some conversations where men, you know, were being real, and there seemed to be a real, you know, and I suppose it's the same with women, but there's men who really get things and they can have deep conversations, and there are men who are just really shallow and just, you know, laugh and snort and think about sex and drink beer, you know.
Yeah, you wonder how deep it actually goes.
Yeah, well, these guys, like I was privilege to a conversation that was deeper than any conversation I've ever heard before. And it was men who'd had their first babies, and they were discussing how horrified they were by the treatment of doctors to their wives. And it was a really deep, meaningful, compassionate, emotional conversation. And it scared, well, it didn't scare me. It was amazing to sit there and listen, but I was scared stiff they'd noticed that I was in the room and shut up. So I just kind of tried to blend in with my chair, and yeah, they didn't remember I was there for quite some time after. But yeah, it made me realize that, you know, there are some men who do have conversations that are very similar to women, but there are some women who have conversations that are so shallow and ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. We can't just say it's.
So I think we make stereotypes, don't we? And we broad brush things. But when you look deeper, there are people who have better understanding of people
and it's about being able to express those feelings and those emotions, and it's not like, you know, we have to walk around, you know, putting our heart on our sleeves and all that. But at least to the people that are important or that matter to you, it's kind of reaching in and for that vulnerability, because I think if we don't get vulnerable, at times we're doing ourselves a disfavor. And I think vulnerability, you know, it can, you can get hurt with things, situations, things might not always work out. You might be putting yourself out there too far, and it's scary. But at the end of the day, in taking those personal sort of chances in yourself, or pushing against those boundaries, it's definitely a richer life that you're going to live. And do you know what I mean? Yeah,
you need that to be vulnerable creates intimacy, which is like a really deep connection between people, not just a sex thing.
Well, it's how you exactly.
So it's how you bond, it's how you form that kind of contact with someone, that's deeper than the other contacts that you have. So I think the intimacy thing can be with anyone who's close into your circle, isn't it?
Yes.
Even though society puts intimacy and sex in the same thing, I don't think that's right.
No. I mean, sex in a lot of people's eyes is just sex, you know. But it's there's a lot more to that, in my opinion. When a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman come together, it's much more. When two people are in love, I guess. It's much more about intimacy and connecting and reaching through that love, like a higher place, because love takes you higher, you know. I mean, love is
sharing, isn't it? Sharing your deepest you.
Yes. And that is kind of like the meaning of life, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, what are you getting out of it? What are you getting out of it?
And that kind of brings us back to writing, doesn't it? Like, that's what we're trying to get on the page, the deepest
truth, and convey that. Yeah. And conversations between our characters, the dialogue that we use is the perfect way to do that, because it's creating those bonds and those relationships between our characters, and revealing the parts of our characters, you know, between the narrative in our stories. It's driving our stories, and it's creating that the connection between reader and story and character. Yeah.
And if your dialogue develops through your book, your reader can see the development of the relationship between the people, that they're becoming friends, not becoming friends, becoming lovers, not becoming lovers. You know, whatever the thing is, you can read like subtext, can't you, through dialogue? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it just reminded me, I wrote a little piece about Dirty Dancing, and one line that Baby says in the movie where she gets vulnerable, Kath, and she says, I don't know if you recall, where he tells her, Patrick Swayze tells her that, you know, you're not scared of anything, and she says, you know, I'm scared of who I am, I'm scared of this, I'm scared of that, and then she ends it something like, and most of all, I'm scared of walking out of this room and never feeling my whole life the way I feel when I'm with you.
That's like the line, isn't it?
And that is like the line, and you know, I don't know, it gets me every time. I'm like, oh, you just watch that and you feel it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is good dialogue.
Yeah.
And you, being a romance writer, you have a bit of knowledge with the whole romance dialogue thing going on. What are you seeing, or you know, the trends in that?
I don't. Well, there's a dialogue is really. There's been quite a lot of workshops on dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But dialogue, something that can throw me right out of a story too. You know, like there's
Yep.
some people who write men, and I just like, oh God, I've never heard a man speak like that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that can throw me completely. Or when you read a romance and the guy is like somebody who's, you know, hardly speaks, you can hardly get words out of him, and then at the end he professes his love in about 3 pages of dialogue.
Yeah,
you know, and you're like,
too much.
oh, come on.
People don't. Yeah, I think that's like info dump with dialogue.
Yeah.
Like it gets a bit tedious.
And it's not believable just because he's saying it. Like, you've got to
show it.
Yeah, you have to show it. The same with people talking, isn't it? People can say stuff, but you don't believe it sometimes.
People can talk until they're blue in the face, but it's the actions that will convey their true feelings and their intentions, and without the action, you got nothing, do you?
No. And it's got to, I think in writing it's got to be as true as in real life for that, hasn't it? You've got to bring that out in your writing, that truth and honesty in each character, or you don't take them in a romance. You know, if they're not showing their true self, it's not worth it.
Well, people, readers can't relate or resonate if there's not some kind of truth to your characters, if you don't bring that quality and the essence. You know, I've recently started working on book 3 of my series, and I've decided to use another character's perspective in a sort of journalistic sense, but it's coming from a male. And I really need to, when I get into his character, because I'm giving him chapters on his own, I really need to kind of switch. You know, like you were talking last week about your mind, the male versus female kind of counterparts in your mind. Because I'm so used to writing from my my protagonist point of view, and she's a girl or a woman, and I really have to switch. I'm just like, right, no, I'm writing from him now, and I'm so aware of trying to make sure that they sound different, you know, which is kind of hard when you're doing it from the first person POV, you know. Yeah.
But I think it's important for.
Well, you need to.
Yeah. Otherwise, your book's just.
There's not going to be anything to differentiate. I mean, I can't even.
Yeah.
Me and my words.
Differentiate, isn't it? Yeah.
I need word slut.
It's awesome. And you know, her next book I saw, and I hope this isn't a joke, I hope it's real, but it was called Mindfuck.
Oh, really?
I think, that's what I saw on Instagram, and I'm hoping it's true. It's out in 2021.
Well, there you go. You really got to get your nephew to not watch it to this time.
I know. Anyway. If you can put it in a book title, surely it's okay to say.
I'm sure. I mean, people are saying that word all the time. It's just
Yeah, I'm sure I won't introduce it to me.
but we never say it.
Not at all.
Especially you, Kate.
Yeah, there's none of that in Kate's books. Heavens above.
No, there's none of that. Yeah. So, anything else to add to communication? Do you have to expressly communicate something else to me today?
I don't know. Accept the gifts of the universe.
Accept
what
the
else?
gifts of the universe.
Yeah.
And then success. You know, and it's so funny. I know that there is no greater goal than to love, and we just kind of talked about the communication thing and relating to people and bonding, right? Express yourself, people. In your book,
especially to those closest to you.
Sorry, say what?
Especially to those closest to you.
Yeah, people that matter.
And your characters.
You only get a few, right?
People that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're special.
Special. It's going to taking the time to nurture those connections and relationships and whatever.
And sometimes they take a long time. Sometimes they're slow burn ones, aren't they? That take a long time to deepen, and others you just walk in and fall into the deep hole together, isn't it?
That is so true. Yeah. And I think that sometimes that deep hole can be scary for some, particularly males, because they've got the whole ego thing going on. Well, they are more egotistical. Come on, everyone knows that. Everyone's going to hate me.
But stereotyping's so hard not to do, isn't it? I mean, how do you discuss intimacy and differences between people without mentioning names or doing a broad brush men, isn't it? Like, we don't have a way to describe people without making broad brush things.
No, I guess so. I mean, but you know, at the end of the day, we're all individuals.
Yes, and everyone can change.
And everyone can change if they so wish.
Yeah,
you know, they can dive into that deep thinking thing that happens from time to time.
Yeah, who knows? The world could
Revelations abound. Epiphanies. What else? The gifts of the universe.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And they could talk like us over the top of each other all the time.
Because that's what we do, yeah.
That's it. Our deep conversations.
So maybe we should mention our Patreon. You do that so well. I think that you can you do it really well.
That's because I've got your cheat notes here on the screen.
Go ahead.
So if you'd like more of our deep conversations, you could sponsor us on our Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support us and gain access to bonus content, like our personology cards, extra videos, magnets. So if you want to go there, head to patreon.com/creativewritingenergy. And you can also find us at whisperinginkpress.com/creativewritingenergy. And we're on Twitter. Kim's on Twitter. She's good at it. I'm bloody slack and haven't got there.
No, you can. Yeah, I know. Where's your tweets? What's going on with your tweets?
Just so many of me. Can't keep up with myself.
You got to get them communicating, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Strengthen those relations, and then you will have success on Twitter.
That's all I need. A rival Yes. Anyway.
Alrighty. Well, that's all good. Patreon, Whispering Ink Press, real good. So, yeah. Go check it out.
Communicating skills are good.
Yeah. Develop them. Alrighty. Until next week, thank you for tuning in and putting up with us, and thank you. We appreciate your time, don't we, Kath?
We do. And communicate deeply.
Say what?
Communicate deeply.
Yeah.
Week.
Like it. Like it.
All right.
Push your boundaries. And with that, we're out of here.
Okay.
Bye.